Hey, what's up, everybody? Listen, if you want to reach a goal, you have to become consistent daily doing the things that will get you there. You can't continue doing the same things that you've been doing up to this point in time. We all know this, that if we keep doing what got us to where we are, we're not going to get any different results. And we always hear we need consistency. But in practicality and reality, how does that actually work when you have so much going on, so much to do? You don't want to neglect your responsibilities. And maybe you've tried different methods before, like time management, day planning, or just getting rid of things out of your calendar and realize I can't do that. I need to figure out something now that works for me. Listen, if you cannot do something that doesn't work for you. This is not a judgment or anything to be critical of. But if we can't do what works for us, it's not going to work. It's very basic. If it's not working, it's not going to get results. So we have to find what works uniquely for us individually. And all of us work just a little bit differently. What I want to do is I want to give you a couple tips here on how to stay consistent, how to become consistent without neglecting things, without getting stressed out with the chaos that happens. And a big part of this is we have to find our baseline, okay? That's easier said than done. When you have so much chaos going around and around and around, I'm going to show you on this piece of paper right here. When you have all this chaos in your life like this is how most of us are living our lives, right? And we have a lot going on. We have this goal that we want to get to, but we're down here and there's no way to get through the muck of the chaos. So what we have to do is we have to find a baseline and bring outside of all of these outliers right here. This is the path, okay? And this is what you're doing on a daily basis. This is what all of us are doing. Everybody. We deal with this. We have to find our baseline to identify what needs to change. If we can't identify what's not working, we aren't ever going to do what is working. And so that's one of the biggest things with this is that we have to figure out what that baseline is. You want to know the easiest way to figure out your baseline? Is gratitude. Is being grateful for what you're experiencing in your life right now. What's happening, what's going on. Becoming grateful for the chaos, becoming grateful for the opportunities, becoming grateful for what's happening around you. When we're comparing our chaotic situation to what we want to experience, what we think is possible, we can't ever see a clear path to get there. We're drawing these two opposite sides. We have a picture in our mind of what we think is possible, what we've seen other people do, and then we're looking at our own life and we're saying there's no way in anywhere that this is going to become that. We know this. We have to become honest with ourselves about that. And this is where finding our baseline is important. Gratitude is what helps do this. Here's the reason why. Because you elevate your state. You elevate your mind state. No strategy for time management, production, discipline, focus, and consistency will work without a baseline, without elevating your mind state. You will constantly be fighting against the current. So this is where we have to just come into that baseline. Gratitude is the quickest way to do this, to come into a baseline. What are 5 things that you are grateful for in your life right now, that you're thankful for, that are going on? When we do this, then we can identify, okay, what do I not like that's going on? What is not working for me? And we can identify, okay, what is one of those areas? What is just one of them? Many times we try to attack all of the areas at once. If we can identify just one key area in our lives, just one, not all of them, just one, that we can look at that's not working for us, that we want to change, then we can go to work and make this our practice, this one single area. You might still have all of this going on in your life, right? That's chaotic. But if we can deal with the single most, like one single area and take care of that, we'll start to do two things. Establish trust with ourselves, that we keep the promises that we make to ourselves, meaning when I say I'm going to do something, I actually do it. And then this allows us to become consistent. We feel good about the fact that, I was able to accomplish that one thing. Now let's go to the next one and the next one and the next one. But oftentimes when we're coming from a place of comparing what we see far off into the future with our present reality, that becomes difficult. And so it's impossible, it really is, to deal with every single little thing that's chaotic in our life all at once until we come to that baseline of gratitude. Until we come to that baseline, we're not going to identify what needs to change, what needs to shift without being in that mind state, that elevated state of gratitude. This is kind of like if you have a company and you're bleeding out revenue, millions of dollars. Imagine this, okay? The company did $10 million. We're only making $5 million now. We're bleeding $5 million a year. You have to identify and come up with a baseline budget to see where you're bleeding out. Otherwise, if you're bleeding out everywhere, you're not going to find where that is. And this is how it is in our lives with developing consistency, with developing the ability to stay consistent with things, as we have to find that baseline of that joyful state, which comes from gratitude, which comes from knowing who we are. When we know who we are, then we can see what we don't like that we are doing. This is why we have to detach our identity of who we are from what we're doing. And this is where a lot of people get mixed up is, well, if I'm inconsistent, then I'm an inconsistent person. No, you are a person that does inconsistent things. We have to detach that, because then you can become a person that is consistent. If you identify your identity with what you do, I'm an ungrateful person, I'm an inconsistent person, we stay on the cycle of doing that. I'm a fearful person. We stay on that cycle because we identify who we are with our feelings, with our actions. And so this chaos becomes our identity, and we're trying to solve the problems to get to our goal without ever working on what affects us getting to that next level. Listen, if you're somebody that has a pattern, has unhealthy habits, you're consistent at doing unhealthy things. This is maybe a harsh thing to say, right? I'm saying this for myself when I say this. When I identify, okay, I am consistently unhealthy in this area, and I become real with that, and I say, you know what? I'm so grateful for this. I'm so grateful for the fact that I can shift this. I can identify what needs to change, what needs to shift, and then develop a plan step by step, not swallowing the whole elephant all at once, just taking it one bite at a time, one step at a time to keep moving forward from where I am to where I want to be. Okay? And so if you're dealing with, I don't know about marketing, I don't know about time management, I don't know about consistency, I don't know how to create good headlines, I don't know how to find the right customer. If we can deal with those singular areas, maybe you've been working trying to grow in those areas before and nothing has worked. Try this. Will you take just a little bit of time, visualize what it would be like to be successful in that area, and then look at how do you feel right there. Then look at the life that you have right now and identify what is different, what has to change, what is one area that has to change. And that will usually identify for us a fear that we have, sometimes a habit that we have that needs to change. For me, it was always fear of missing out on certain things, fear of not having all the pieces together before I get started, fear of what people might judge me for, what people might think about me if I put something out there, fear of how people might perceive me differently if I talk about certain things. And so these were areas that then I was able to go to work on, and as soon as I worked through those very quickly, I'm talking a day or two. This doesn't take months or weeks. This can happen in an hour. When we come face to face with what needs to change and we make a decision to change those areas, we can start to develop consistent habits in our life to reach our goals. Listen, you're not going to develop consistent habits. It took you 30, 40, 50, 60 years to develop unhealthy, consistent habits. Give yourself grace to embrace the process, to embrace every step along the way, taking it one day at a time. And what you'll notice is when you do this, the quick wins, the little wins, when you have success in one of these little areas, you go, wow, this is actually working. This thing actually works. This shifted everything for me. This is what happened in my life, and this is what has created results for the clients that I work with, for everybody that I know is successful. Listen, for you to be successful in life, in business, especially business, because there's a lot of business owners on here that are watching me, you have to be courageous and bold. And that's a hard thing, especially if you're like, that's not my personality. You're identifying with not being courageous and bold, your action, as who you are. And so what can happen is we can start to develop in small areas in our life courage and boldness. Not the whole thing all at once. Listen, you're not going to just put yourself out there, the whole thing all at once, but little tiny areas with your friends, with your family, with people that you have relationship with your close inner circle. And eventually that will develop that consistent habit of growing and stepping into that place of where you're called to go and what you were made for. Listen, we were all made to be authentic and unapologetic for who we are. None of us were designed to be afraid to be who God made us to be. But life throughout the years teaches us that we have to be. And so if we can work on these areas step by step, we can start to develop the consistent habits that create the results in our lives and in our businesses. So if you need help with that, if you want to coach with me, this is what I do when I'm coaching with people in business. I have some clients, we only work on ad copy. Like Dawn, we were working on copy. She's been going through years of working on this stuff right here that we're talking about right now, and she's doing an incredible job. So what we worked on was just the ad copy. I have other clients, we work on this stuff so much because this is what's keeping them from even writing consistent copy, even launching their products or services. And this is what I love to help people with coaching and working with them step by step to develop a plan for them to grow and accomplish everything that's possible for them. You can schedule a free call with me on my website, 15-minute call. Click the link. There's going to be a link on this post. You can schedule a call or you can go to my website. I look forward to talking with you. Talk soon. Have a good one, everybody.